Hey y'all, it's your girl Tasha P back at you again with another podcast style video. This is Trusted Transformation, a blog and platform dedicated to every day being an opportunity for evolution. So for all my creatives out there, all of my people out there just needing motivation, all my people out there just needing inspiration, that extra push to get you through your day, to make you want to work on your craft, to make you want to complete that project you've been sleeping on for the last year. This is for you. So today what I want to talk about is not taking things personally. And I'm not going to lie, it is very interesting that me, out of all people, I'm talking about this topic, because that is something I'm not going to lie, I have struggled with, and to some extent still do. And it's not that I don't want to take things personally, but it's because I feel like when you're dealing with people outside of yourself in a general sense, it's hard not to. Ultimately, because I know me and I know my intention, whether that be in something I'm sharing, like how I'm speaking to you all right now, or if it's something I create, like an artist work, like a painting or something. I don't know why I just said that like that. But when it comes to anything where I'm just sharing and I'm showing up as me, and there's some type of reaction or response that isn't what I think the response should be. And not saying that it should be a way, but you know how if you tell somebody some exciting news and they dry, you're kind of like, oh, okay. Or if you say, hey, look at what I made, and they're like, oh, okay. Or you're just putting yourself in a position to be vulnerable, or maybe that's not even the case. You're just doing whatever it is that you're supposed to do, and then that elicits a response from somebody outside of yourself that isn't the response you would hope for or intend to receive, just being that that's just not where your head was as a reaction to get. And I've had this experience with friends, family, career, honestly, just about when you're out here in the world and you're dealing with people, you're going to get some type of feedback. And sometimes that feedback isn't going to be what you expect. It isn't going to be what you like. It's not going to be what you want to hear. It's not going to be what you think you deserve. It's not going to be always peaches and cream. Sometimes that feedback is, girl, keep doing it. You killing it. Oh, yeah. You wallin'. Oh, yes. You going up. I see you. And sometimes it's, hey, I did not like X, Y, and Z. You need to work on this. You need to cross your I's. You need to dot your T's. You need to get it together. And sometimes even it don't even have nothing to do with feedback. Maybe it's just like I said, it's the lack of response and the lack of energy given. And when you get to a place of neutralizing outside energy, that is when you have mastered not taking it personally. It's sometimes very difficult to neutralize getting a response from someone and not wanting to, or the lack of response, and not wanting to go off, or not wanting to be upset, or not wanting to take it personally. And I'm encouraging any of you that is dealing with something where you know that you put your all into it, for instance, or you really went hard and you really just want some type of, respect gathered, or, maybe you showed up and showed out in some way, but for whatever reason it wasn't acknowledged, or people didn't care in the way that you wanted it to be received, be okay with saying, you know what? I don't want to say it is what it is, but have the mindset that I'm going to take the lesson from it. I'm going to take what I was meant to learn from this, as opposed to, biting the bait and getting in my bag about it, because that doesn't help you grow. When you take things personally, you many times get more triggered in the emotional sense than in the sense of, how can I utilize this to do better next time? How can I make this work for me so that I never have to deal with maybe that response again? And maybe even if you deal with that response again, that's fine. But it's still about, how can I use this to navigate the best, possible outcome for me? Not even so that you get the response you want from a person, but that you just get the outcome you desire from the situation. Because a lot of times we focus so much on how we are being perceived, or how somebody responds to us, or the negative feedback or lack thereof that we get, that we get fixated on the negative aspect of what we've done, as opposed to how we can utilize now what we have gotten as a response to improve ourselves. Being transparent here, I feel like I'm in the midst of a spiritual warfare, if you will. Not necessarily that things are going all haywire and wrong in my life. I, in a way, feel a sudden sense of peace. And not a peace as in, like I said, everything is all perfect. But a peace in understanding that through the feedback I am getting from the world right now, I cannot allow this to be something that I take personally, but instead work on my art. Instead, put into my mission. Fixate on my purpose and 10x that, as opposed to worrying about how this person and that person feels about me. Because when you're a person that's a people pleaser, like myself, I'm a recovering people pleaser. You tend to hyper fixate. I'm just talking at this point. I'm just saying stuff wrong. You tend to hyper fixate on how people feel about you, and how you can make this person like you more, and how you can make this person respect you more, and how you can make everything just be a positive reception that you do. And sometimes the lesson in not taking it personally is to make people get upset with you, and remain stoic, remain steadfast and on your mission, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what they saying. And not in the sense of like, F everybody's opinion, but more so take the meat and, spit out the bones. If they did say something that's relevant that you really can use to your advantage, use it. Don't be sitting here just all up in your bag to the point now you stuck in place and you stuck in time, and you're not moving forward because you're so worried about what somebody said 10 years ago. No. The not taking it personally is I release the negative aspect and emotion that is attached to what my feedback has been, and I'm going to take in now how I can use this to my advantage. That's why they always talk about all energy is energy to be used. I believe I spoke on this in the previous video, if not the first one that I made maybe some days ago, but energy cannot be created or destroyed. It can only be transferred. So when you choose to utilize energy that is meant to, you know, either improve you, distract you, bring down your energy, make you feel bad about yourself, whatever what have you, and you choose to just transmute it into, all right, you know what? This is the motivation now for me to go work on my business. This is the motivation for me now to go get in the gym and get my life right. This is the motivation now for me to get my money up. This is the motivation now for me to take more care of myself and go to the spa and get my facials and get my massages. This is the motivation now for me to practice that skill that I've been wanting to practice and to get better. And not from a place of stunting, but from a place of self-improvement. Not taking things personally really forces you, and it's a mindset shift, to learn to really embrace the glass half full mentality. And to some extent, just always understand that you're not going to be able to please everybody. So why not just put your best foot forward in using what they said as a motivator to get the job done, or using what was done, or using your own strength to just keep moving on and to keep going, and to not say negative feedback is going to now be a reason for me to pause and not go after what I want because I'm so upset at what somebody said and somebody did. So many times when we're taking stuff personally, we don't even recognize that could be a distraction meant to take you off your pathway, meant to take you away from your goals, meant to hold you back from getting the job done. People understand how to use emotion to trigger you, whether it's good or bad. And it's something that I think is subconscious. Like, it's not something that people are always consciously like, all right, I'm gonna say XYZ to get on this person's nerves, or to hurt this person's feelings, or to lessen their confidence. But best believe there are people out there that know how talented you are, that know how amazing you are, how much you have to offer, and will give you feedback to make you think otherwise. Are you going to sit there and take that personally? That's why, funny enough, throughout this whole Drake and Kendrick beef, I can't choose a side, like, ultimately, because I love them both. But feedback from the world is pitting them against each other when ultimately they're in two different lanes. They're in two different lanes, and either way, they're both still great. And I think when I look at the feedback that both of them get, I am very happy deep down, though, that Kendrick is getting his shine. And not, like, at the, detriment of Drake that I'm happy about that, because I feel like at the end of the day, push comes to shove, say what you want, Drake really has been a pivotal figure in the music industry. It is what it is. For the last, I want to say, just about 2 decades. He really has been. It's just something that's undeniable. But Kendrick himself also has. He has been really integral, and he has really made rap be something that is a storytelling art on another level, from a perspective of a black man that is confidently black and understands that there's always a message that can be delivered in such a creative, artistic way that, to me, is very deeper than the surface. So many times I think people want to just feel good and turn up, but they don't want to learn. And some will argue, music ain't for learning. I disagree. but that's the artist in me. I think music is a way I learn about a lot of stuff, and it could be little things from maybe a clothing brand I never heard of to, references in pop culture to samples from other music before that song was created, what inspired partially the creation of the song that I'm listening to. There's so much to learn from music, but that's another topic from another day. But I would hope, to get back on track with the topic, that Drake and Kendrick ultimately, I mean, they probably are, but ultimately aren't taking the feedback from the public personally, because what I'm gathering from the whole situation is that these two artists are absolutely phenomenal, and that they should be flattered and complimented based off of both of their bodies of work, that people are even comparing them off the strength of, there's a lot of rappers that will never reach that conversation. There's a lot of rappers that nobody will say, yo, do you think such and such is better than Drake? Or vice versa. Do you think such and such is better than Kendrick? Because you're not even in that stratosphere. You're not even in that realm. You're not even on that level to be placed next to Drake or Kendrick, because that's just not a conversation for you. Like, you cute, you got your 1 or 2 radio bops, but no. Like, we know you ain't Drake or Kendrick. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's where the not taking it personally comes from, where you see things from an angle where it's like, yo, I didn't even look at it like that. And that's no shade or disrespect to any other rappers, because personally, I have so many rappers that I love. Rap is probably one of my most listened to genres, because that's just something I grew up listening to. My friends listen to it. My family listen to it. I just love rap. But you gotta call a spade a spade. There's a lot of rappers that they wouldn't even be close to that conversation, and it is what it is. But that's what the reframing, the taking things personally comes from, because there's a lot of times where you have to just see it from a perspective of, some people want to say things to bring you down, or some people want to not acknowledge who you are because it makes them feel better, or sometimes people are actually saying something that is to help you, and you should use that as fuel and a cheat code, a blueprint, if you will, to get better, and not be so much in your bag that you're not taking the gems that are being dropped on you to get better. There's so many ways that advice can be taken, or that complaints can be taken, feedback can be taken, and the people that have that Zen-like energy of a monk, of a person at peace with themselves, understands that what I receive energy-wise can always be transformed into something that benefits me if I want it to be. And if I don't, that's also on me. So, I say all that to say, y'all know at this point, get used to me just taking you on a journey and then just wrapping it up. You feel me? I'm going to take you on a journey. This is Trust the Transformation. Stop taking stuff personally. People gonna talk. People not gonna talk. People gonna say stuff to encourage you. Sometimes they not. That's just life. So this is Taisha P signing out. I'm gonna talk to y'all later.